Okay, as you guys know, this is one of my favorite shows, and I am so happy they are actually back. Let's talk about Queen Sugar. We are going into season 3, and I'm so and I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Queen Sugar. This is the season premiere. You know their season premieres are generally 2 days, so we're gonna get 2 of these. It's today, and then I'll be right on back tomorrow with a whole nother episode. But this is season 3, episode 1. Let's just talk about where we are. We see Charlie jogging. So where's she going? And I'm looking at the area where she's actually at. Charlie has actually moved out from the loft and actually moved and bought herself a house. Beautiful house. Nice bit of land around it. And I could see that it's actually in a better part of town. Kind of a little white, if you will. But gorgeous, gorgeous house. And she said she wanted to get away from work. And I understand that. I definitely understand that. So I'm like, it's like she never goes home. Like you're always at work no matter what. So I understood that. So that's what her and Micah got going on. Nova was actually in New York. First time we've seen her. She's actually sitting with a publishing house who offered her a 6-figure book deal. And that's definitely they're saying to her like within a year we actually see you with a best-selling book on the New York Times bestseller list and all of this with college tours and speaking engagements and all of this. And then again, she is actually faced with leaving grassroots behind, becoming bigger than what it is that she sees herself as. I'm like, Nova, girl, if you don't take this goddamn money and cut it out, just, I mean, I understand her point, but it's crazy how you have people who they have this talent and they have people wanting to invest in talent, but it's like she can't see the forest through the trees. And it's like, Nova, you know, passion is great, but passion with money behind it is better. You know what I mean? Passion with money behind it and a vehicle behind it and collaborations and contacts and like what is the problem? What can't you see, sis? What is the problem? But that's Nova. She drives me nuts every season. Anyway, let's go to Blue and Ralph Angel. Blue and Ralph Angel are in an awkward stage. They're in an awkward place. Darla's gone. Blue is missing Darla, acting out in school, and kind of not listening to Ralph Angel because I'm thinking that Blue is probably internalizing some of why Darla's not there to his daddy. And you know, kids do that, honey. They'll drive you crazy with that old misplaced anger and things. But he's kind of acted out, not really listening to Ralph Angel. I'm like, child, Ralph Angel gonna whoop your ass. Now you keep on playing if you want to, because there was a couple of them times in there we were watching this episode. I was like, child, I've been the tour Trayvon doing Trey's ass up when Blue was just blatantly not listening. Mm-mm. And then when Vi comes into the picture, he really wasn't listening. And I kind of understand that because I've been in that position. There was a period of time that my mom stayed with me. And at a point, my boys started acting like I was more like their sibling than their father. Child, it didn't work out good for them, honey. Ask them. It didn't work out good for them. But I was kind of seeing that and I was like, I understand that. Been there, done that. But you know, it's when Aunt Vi comes, then it don't matter what nobody say. Child, nip that shit in the bud. But anyway, okay, so that's what they got going on. And Darla say he's asking her, "When are you coming back?" Because she FaceTimed him. "When are you coming back? When are you gonna come and get me?" And she's telling me, "I'm working on something." I'm like, what the hell is she giving? And then there was this whole scene where we finally see Ralph Angel get his results of his paternity test, and Blue is not his. All of the siblings were actually together when they went to get the results, which was cool. Um, it's not his. And he told both sisters, he said, it don't change nothing. It doesn't change nothing. And that's the truth. It doesn't change anything. He is you all's. He belongs to y'all. He child who she don't know who the other daddy is. She don't even have a clue. So it's different. You know, it's different when the situation arises when there's adoptive parents and there are birth parents, and you know where they are, you know who they are, or you have some idea. This whore has no idea who Blue belongs to because he belongs to Ralph Angel. End of story. They could have burned them papers up. As far as I was concerned, they didn't even have to take the test because we already knew whether it said yes or no, Ralph Angel ain't gonna turn him loose. He's not gonna turn him loose. So that's that. I was like, child, that was just I guess another reason for him to hate Darla, because other than that, he ain't never gonna let go of Blue, and neither is the rest of the family. So that was that. Okay. And I was hurt for him, you know, child. You know they'll bring some tears about your face. I was hurt for somebody. You know, it's rough to see somebody who wants something so bad. He wanted that test to say 99.9, honey, and that test gave. Are you serious, child? Is you live, whore? Yeah, she was real live. Anyway, a mess. Um, okay, then we see Charlie, and she goes down and she meets with Bo and Sam Landry, and they're sitting down to actually finally sign this contract to for him to buy Queen Sugar. He says Bo went out, and he's talking to Charlie with his old condescending, grimy ass. He's sitting there, and he agreed to everything he's telling her. You know why he agreed to everything? Like, who cares, man? Let's just get this going. You know, her 1% overall profit she gets to keep, plus she will stay being the face of the meal. And he says, well, we're going to do that definitely. The 1% was an act of kindness, and the you're staying as the face to keep up appearances. You know what I mean? That's always so condescending. I can't stand him. And then he had the nerve to hit her with, "You're who would ever thought that you and I would be here after all that's happened?" And he's talking like, you know, like he had nothing to do with the problems that she had. You know, I know you didn't know it was so hard to get a business off the ground and stuff. No, it's not that hard to get a business off the ground. It's only hard when you have a son of a bitch like yourself working against me. That's when it's hard, Sam Landry, you cocksucker. Oh, I wanted to just choke that man's tongue out. He's a dirtball. But anyway, he's being all condescending. Then he hit her with, your father would be so proud, honey. And she looked at him. I said, child, looks could kill. I said, baby, you got her evil. I said, she is going to get you, and I am here for it. She gonna get your ass. Later on, we actually seen her, because you know the only one that really knows what's going on is Ralph Angel. And her and Ralph Angel talked, and she basically solidified to him that the plan is in effect. That yeah, he opened the door wide open, and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna get all the dirt on Sam Landry, and I'm going to um, bury Sam Landry and take over Landry Enterprises, and then everything will be running the way that it's supposed to run around here. I said, okay, come on now. So, okay, let's talk about Aunt Vi. Aunt Vi and Hollywood just came back from Italy vacationing, and they're getting married. They're basically planning a wedding. What we kept seeing here, Hollywood is coddling Aunt Vi, and it's driving her nuts. So, you know, it's her whole thing. They end up having a conversation because Hollywood got all in his feelings, and Vi told him, listen, I don't need to be put on a pedestal. I don't need to be coddled and all of that. I am not going to break it. He's like, I understand that, but you're going to be put on a pedestal. It is what it is. That's what I do. That's what I did. So they have an understanding. Yeah, I was like, come on. I was like, cut it out, Hollywood. Get all out your feelings. You're doing too much. So anyway, they had this big annual basketball game. A lot was going on at that basketball game. Charlie actually seen the cop who did that little stuff to Micah last season. Seen him with his little grandson and this, that, and the other, and found out he had a grandson that actually was part of the other basketball team and all that. She's steadily gathering information because she's gonna get his ass too. Somebody she was texting with um earlier on, I see she's gathering things about him, and later on they ended up sending her a video of him using brute force on a young man, a black young man. I said, So she's getting some shit together for him. He's a mess. He's a whole mess. But anyway, down here at this game, there was this whole thing that went on with the whole kneeling during the national anthem and all that. And this whole ruckus broke out, and they pulled out Confederate flags, and they was giving, go back where you came from, and this, that, and the other. And they escorted the black children off of the floor who had got out there and kneeled in front of the girl. The girl that fucked the whole song up, child. Her child, after they came out there, and them black folks went down and kneeling, and she got all off key, honey, and next thing you know, she couldn't get it all. The guy said, girl, you can fuck the song up, child. Your Beyonce moment is over, ma'am. Go sit down. It was a whole mess. But they immediately broke out with that whole Confederate shit. Just like that's what they were supposed to be doing and saying. I said, check them out. Later on that night, and there were four kids who actually did stand up. Nova actually did end up interviewing them for the newspaper and all of that afterwards. So she's definitely behind what they got going on. They were down at the bar afterwards celebrating. And Jacob and I said Bo. The child's name is Jacob. Jacob and Charlie ran into each other at the bar, and he said to her, it feels bad having a little secret like ours. Feels a little dirty, don't it? Now he's enjoying this whole thing. She ain't enjoying it. She's trying to keep shit on the low, and he's like all into it. All into it. I said, baby, that black box is going to really turn you loose, honey. You keep on with your messy self. He's just as messy. Then Charlie and Remy had a little thing. Vi wanted Remy to come down and sit with them. She said, he's a part of this family. Why ain't he sitting down here? Child, and Remy curbed Charlie and was like, I don't want to sit down there with y'all. You know, all due respect to Vi, but I just want to stay away from you. I didn't keep my head down over here. I said, girl, he don't want no parts of you. I said, okay. So the more that Remy makes Charlie miserable, guess what's going to happen to you, Jacob? Whatever. Anyway, so that was that. I was like, all right. So this is basically where we are. Last thing I'm going to talk about is Mr. Prosper. Mr. Prosper is on a cane and he's moving a little slow. We found out he has to have back surgery. And I don't know why Ava DuVernay put that in there. I hope nothing's getting ready to happen to Mr. Prosper, because that's where she was leading me to believe something is getting ready to happen to Mr. Prosper. And I'm not here for that shit, Ava. I'm not here for it at all. But anyway, him and Charlie had a real good heart-to-heart where she was saying, you know, she really appreciates Mr. Prosper and how much of a help that he is to the family. It's just like having a little piece of their dad there in the flesh. And he was telling her, you've been a blessing, Charlie, and I know you're going to get everything fixed. And she's like, I am, you've been a blessing to our family and all of that. I was like, okay. Which I loved all that because I love Mr. Prosper. But I was like, Ava DuVernay, nothing better not happen to Mr. Prosper. Don't start this shit. It's too early. Don't do this. But anyway, this is where we ended. So we're back. Everything's on and popping. I can't wait to see the second episode tonight. So I will talk with you guys in a little bit. All right, later.